I don't know what's going on with the faux hawk on top of your head, but
It works.
happy post 4th of July weekend. And yes, everyone can rag on me because I didn't, as I said, I'd be there Monday. Well, someone had other plans for me. And that other someone is actually near me after I take my meds and I render myself unconscious to kill me. So I don't piss her off. And I took Monday to catch up on racing, which I already talked about. Me and him are going to get into more on Friday. But can I say, you don't have to talk about the World of Outlaw late models. Yeah, the Case late model series or the sprint cars, even though it was from over a month ago, but they finally actually aired some, which was the weirdest thing ever. But it was a bad weekend, minus 246. We all deserve it. Yeah. Welcome to America, the greatest human experiment ever. But minus that, there was just so much idiocy, and that's the only thing that's taking up the news. But it's amazing how many incidents there were of mass shooting things, let's say everywhere else, but Kamala's going to one place. And everyone I see online keeps saying it's not about Chicago, but this is outside of Chicago. Well, it's funny because it happened 29 minutes in a city, 29 minutes outside of Chicago, and she's going to Chicago. So, but look at the demographic of who was.
Well, I also think you have to take into consideration not just Kamala Harris being involved.
By the way,
let's just be open.
This is for America. Star Blast in honor.
The governor there, what's his name? Pritzker?
Whatever the hell it is, worthless.
Yeah, he's about as dumb as a box of rocks. I mean, I'm pretty sure this table here, as useless as it can be, has more common sense and more practicality than that guy. But that's besides the point. Chicago and New York, they talk about doing this. They talk about doing that. New York just passed gun laws. They're the one they passed yesterday, or I shouldn't say passed it yesterday, but the one that they're coming to agreement to yesterday to make it come into effect. Long story short, they went to court once already to go against a group that's trying to protect the rights of the New York citizens to carry a concealed weapon for their own protection. They go to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court rules in favor of them. Now New York wants to put into effect all these stipulations, which you might as well say you're going back to court again, because they're literally going to violate every Second Amendment right there is by, do you have this much money? Do you have this insurance? Do you have this reason? Do you have this clearance? Do you have this training? You can't do all that and not consider that. Sorry, you can't do all that and not consider that a violation of my Second Amendment rights. I mean, there's no way around.
Look who's running the state and has been for a while.
You look at Indiana, they say they have loose gun laws, which I don't necessarily agree with that statement, but that's another conversation at a time. Indiana has a lot of guns.
A lot.
You don't see the cities in Indiana very often, minus a certain region over towards Elkhart, where they're in the news a lot because of shootings or this or that. Because down there, you will get shot. There's no way around it.
It's you're in Michigan, deterrent.
Depending on where you're at, down here, the further south of the Lower Peninsula you go, the further likely it is for you to have to be a victim of a violent crime of some form or another. They're supposed to be releasing new numbers, so I won't even give that ratio out yet because it's going to be changed here real soon. So, long story short, is even here in this state, which is a kind of liberal state, Michigan, you still might get shot. You do some of the shit you do down in other states. Now, I'm not saying that Lansing and South, there's not issues because, well, if you were to draw a line from Flint to Lansing and just keep going like that at an angle all the way across the state, everything south of that line, quite literally, is garbage. And you still don't have the numbers that Chicago and New York are hitting. And it's all because you want to take the rights of legal gun owners away, which does not hinder or affect in any way, shape, or form crimes that involve guns.
Yes, sir. Don't worry, everyone. We're going to close it up on that big one because there's just, again, like, what did I say Friday when before I got off. So I'll probably be back to celebrate America, but there's going to be a lot of numbers. And I think I even said, what, we're already up to this number. And it isn't even like noon. And we
Oh.
already have this many people in Chicago. What? And it's been 10 minutes.
That's no different than the airlines either, though. Yesterday, okay, July 5th, the day after 4th of July, the cancellation numbers, if I recall correctly, yesterday morning when I seen it on the news,
We're ungodly.
Was roughly before 9 o'clock, 700 and some. I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was 736 what the number said on the screen before 9 a.m. I don't mean to be rude, but there was a guy the other day that did say this, and I agree with it because I've been on some flights where I was one of a whopping like 8 people on the flight, and they easily could have carried 120 people. I understand it. Cancel them flights or limit them. Instead of having those 3 or 4 times a week, do it once a week. I'm a guy that's all about flying for business. I get it. Makes perfect sense. Guys from NASCAR, I understand flying from track to track because you can get more done, be more proficient. Cool, I get it. With that being said, though, I would rather go, okay, like for example, say I buy a house in Tennessee. Well, I'd rather have a beater car at the airport there in Tennessee and just fly from here to there on Wednesday, or let's say Tuesday. We use Tuesday because Tuesdays are easier, having appointments those days. So I'd fly, say, like yesterday, I would have flew to Tennessee. The next Tuesday, I would have flew back. They have 1 trip a week from Detroit to somewhere in Tennessee because they have a limited number of people, then that's great. You eliminate the route altogether, but then you screw things up completely. But if you were to limit the numbers, I can respect that. I can be there for a week and fly back and forth. I'm down with that. I don't mind that. But they have flights that they shouldn't cancel. If anything, they should increase the number of routes for that particular location, or increase the number of times they do that route, not increase the routes. Increase the number of times they repeat that route. It's stupid. All across the board, it's stupid.
Hey, I didn't write anything down about it. Let's just make it very clear before we get to America. We didn't have these problems until what? And flights were still fully booked and flying all over the country and world in 2020. I only say this because I know people that were flying back and forth across the country multiple times, and they had no problems finding a flight or getting into a jam-packed, incubator of all that, like going back and forth. Like, it's amazing how they started putting in these mandates, and we said, well, this is going to go good. And then suddenly they're having every problem known to mankind between, fuel prices, which, isn't really their fault, but no workers, no pilots.
I mean, yes
when you
and
start
no.
telling people, it's just like every other industry, though. Just like, look at all the medical people and police precincts that either get this jab or you're fired. And they're like, cool, bye.
I don't disagree with that. The mandates are what have killed our economy and what's going to continue.
The mandate tanked everything.
Of ignorance and stupidity that is.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of ignorance and stupid, but this all started once they started mandating everything, and people were like,
the mandates and everything's compounded with everything else. Turns into a
which made it garbage for them, and then on top of inflation and the price of everything, and this, that, and the other thing, and policies, and they just turned everything on their head. It was all intentional. People, sorry, I tried to argue that people are crazy. What, you cannot physically look at everything they did, no matter what they say. Look at everything they've done, and it disproves everything that they're saying.
I don't think you can say it's not intentional. Anyone can say it's not intentional because, like we've said, and this is going off topic, but look at the oil pipelines, not just the one. Look at all of them on day one that was canceled. I just think that's something worth pointing out because if they're not doing it intentionally, my mind is no. You know what? No, they are doing it intentionally. There's no way you can convince me otherwise. Because you got to compound that with the fact that they're sitting there limiting this, that, and everything else. Just like drilling. Oh, there's all sorts of leases. Yeah, the leases are garbage without permits that actually can be obtained. So.
And if they're actually permits on a worthwhile, on a useful piece of land.
Why hasn't the feds mandated that all the rest of the COVID money be used up or return it to the feds?
Because the Democrats are in charge.
Hey, we want to talk about crooked at this point,
Hey, Don't you go and point out a good crooked anything coming from them. What, they're not the crooked ones, remember?
Yeah, something like that.
There's this thing that showed like indictments that were laid down, per administration and stuff. And of course, there's Trump a bit of like a bajillion. And then you look at Obama and Clinton and Joe so far, and look at the numbers. Like, what shows that Republicans are crooked? Actually, it shows how crooked what all the Democrats are. The Republican numbers are that high.
Right.
There's like four among all these. Like I'm sorry, what?
Not disagreeing.
And you say that people can't like not say that this isn't intentional? Yes, they can. People are stupid. But yeah, they canceled all that. That the biggest one we have, they're just gonna let lapse so they could just see you later bye. And guess what, everyone? You can look. Trump ramped us all up, and no one can say since 2020. These are the best numbers we've had since 2020. That's because Trump had to shut a lot of it down because of COVID restrictions got involved in all of that stuff. But guess what? He made us a net exporter because we had that much instead of a net importer. Now we are back to importing more than we can ever do, even though we have all of this right here. And guess what, people? When we were producing all the oil to give it to other countries, that meant that the Saudis and the Iranians and the Venezuelans and the Russians were controlling less of the market because it's oil coming from them. And their governments and all that are controlling it, which makes things. And land permits,
Don't get me wrong.
Permits, land leases are useless without permits on lands that can actually produce anything. Look at the numbers. They might be going up, but we're getting rid of more than we're keeping.
But I will give credit where credit's due. At least the Saudis don't hold the oil over our heads. The UAE doesn't hold the oil over our heads. If we deal with Venezuela or Iran,
it's amazing how they're the first two that we jump to.
Those ones will hold it over our head. And who are they aligned with?
Nothing good. Don't worry.
No, who though? Who's the biggest one they're aligned with? The two of them. Who do they have in common the most? Russia.
Russia, terrorists.
I'm not even going to say it in a conspiracy theory. I'm not going to say it like that because everybody will blame us.
They've actually all come out and said that they're
exactly
what up each other's ass.
Is if Russia can manipulate Iran and Venezuela, which we've seen them do, or else Iran wouldn't have Russia.
China's right there.
I know, but Russia would not.
Listen, don't forget
Russia them. Russia would not be representing.
Don't forget China too, because everyone said, we shut down everything. China's like, cool, we'll buy all of your oil there. Russia, what? You're not going broke.
Yeah, and it's like really degrades India for it. You know what? No, I don't degrade India or China in the aspects of buying that oil because I'll be honest. Here I am, a guy. If I was still racing and I had an opportunity to buy 1,500 gallons at half price, you don't think, even if my friend's the one I'm buying fuel from, I ain't going to buy that 1,500 gallon? You got to be absolutely stupid to think I ain't going to buy that 1,500. I'll tell my best friend, hey, man, this is nothing against you. Business-wise, I had to choose to purchase this.
See, I don't hold it against, India because they're a big old country. China, they're just scummy, and they're just scummy, commie fuckers that want us dead. So I'll hold it against China just because, it's China, India. I mean, what other option did they have? At least India's not trying to kill us and wipe us off the planet completely. So,
my justification for not holding it against China is in regards to the people of China. If you're going just on the government basis,
they're not using it for the people of China.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's how, for me, I can justify, okay, they get a half price. I'm cool with that because why should the people in China who just want to go to work on Monday through Saturday, which is how many days they work a week, I'm pretty sure over there. The guy just wants to go to work. Why can't he just go to work at a cheap price? Why's he got paid $8 a gallon over there?
Well, my thing is, the government can buy it that cheap. You bet your ass they're probably still charging all of their.
I bet you it's cheaper there than it is here.
Mauled population.
Out what your money ratio is, and then figure it out again.
I guarantee you, China's not helping doing their people any favors. What they did during COVID and everything else, I don't trust them.
That's why I said in regards to the government, I can't say
Yeah,
that,
but-
but in regards to the people, I'm all for it.
You know,
But-
the government's gonna fist the people. That's what the government of
But, like,
China's there
even-
for.
Even India, if we really wanted to be technical about it, if you just go off the simple fact that India has no part in anything other than the fact that they're getting a deal on some oil. Okay, congrats, India. I will say though, all the people who degrade India, the people from India that have all come here for the last 7 or 8 decades and made millions, if not billions, because they know what they're doing. They're smart people. If you wanted to be technical, we've stolen that education and that talent from India. So
Yeah,
if
but-
India is finally recouping and doing their own thing, and people are staying in India for their own country, and they're getting some deals along the way,
Well,
I don't think that's
I was gonna say though, like again, at least
but Modi is by
Completely-
far a night and day difference.
completely off, yeah, Maduro's and all them. But I will say that at least when they came here, is our education system. No offense to India, I mean, like some of our colleges are, for tech and stuff, are far more advanced than
Correct.
But at least they're sending it
But I'm
back. and-
saying they've
I'm saying-
contributed.
I'm saying we've enriched one another. I'll say that one's even because they've come over here and done that and helped with us, our tech, but we're also helping them with, buildings and them sending money back to help, So at least that was a very good mutual enrichment process, I would say. They help
skill.
us, it's helping them. Proper immigration, people, proper immigration done legally. When it enriches everybody, it just doesn't dump a million of people that some country doesn't want on us. So then we have to pay for them. That's the difference.
And then I was going to say
These people
this,
did the process properly just to get over here in order to do that. And they're helping the country, not burdening it and
The
helping their
society-
own country.
when you do society to society comparison, India's society in relation to our society has done a lot for each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we can take that, why can't we emulate that in all of our American countries? When I say that, I do mean the Americas only, from Canada to south of South America.
They're all corrupt piles of garbage down there. And they take all the money for themselves that we give them to,
Well,
we're
what
giving
I was-
them billions
the
of
reason I-
dollars to help, to help them, to help, their economic problems and stuff. Like how many billions have we given? What? Why has the problems actually gotten worse? And oh, wait, because the crooked, corrupt, people running the government are taking all of that money, which is
Well,
why
that's what I
the
was gonna
problem
say.
gets worse.
They've let China and Russia enrich their own society and economy by pretty much running South America and some of the Latin Americas even. If we were doing our part with Canada in the Americas, there's no reason why we couldn't, 1, enrich them, to 2, help them better secure their country here in the Americas. Now I have Russia involved, I have China
Yeah.
involved. That would help fix all the countries that surround Brazil, because Brazil is the last pro-democracy country
So-
left in South America.
Yeah, but we got all the problems. Yeah, because I mean, look who's running Canada. I mean, that guy, he's a straight up commie.
He's-
So
but
he's,
that still falls in the Americas.
I know.
where
I'm
he
saying, but
comes
he's on the side of all those crooked bastards over there, which is how he got into power in the first place. Because they talk about all these nice things, and
Well, the average
when you
American,
hear the words, they sound nice. But if you ever look at it, open a history book, a real history book, those nice words never lead to anything nice, at least not for the people on the bottom or even a lot of those in the middle. What it just makes things more vice-like on your life. And there's this thing called books. Maybe, just maybe, someone should try reading one every once in a while. You just have to find a
Well-
book from about 50 years ago before they start fucking everything up.
what was the guy that did
Bob Saget,
no,
Bob Dylan.
the guy that was under George W. Bush? He was the education secretary. I can't remember his name.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways, he said it best. He says, if you're going to teach something, teach all the history, the good, the in between, and the bad. Because without all of it, I mean, let's be honest. Our problems right now, if we were to just simply understand all of American history, we could
Oh, yeah.
solve all of our problems right now with simple understanding of our history from the past. We could clearly make decisions to fix everything.
Oh no, don't worry. That's mixed in somewhere and all this stuff.
No, I'm
yeah.
just
Oh, no, there it is. I was just looking for it to make sure I did. I thought I typed it out. There it
It
is.
just, it bothers me because I don't want to say this. To be a pro-American, to be an American, okay, and just truly support your own country and everything, I think most Americans would say you got to have a secure southern border for anything. Because like I've said in the past on the shows, I've said it in the past whole life with people.
You know
in
who
general,
doesn't agree that?
I dumbass.
God, I'm so happy I did that. See what? Now I'm not actually what? Not saying anything mean about anybody, but it's just a word. It happens to be a word that you know what? Like it happens to be a word that I drew. That's even better.
I hate the fact that this is quick note. I hate the fact that NAFTA has taken a lot of our business in this country and just dispersed it outside of this country all over the world. Now, I will say though, had this been done properly, the NAFTA shit, nothing would have left North or South America. Because let's be honest, if Russia and China is not involved in South America, and we are, everything done in those two continents is going to enrich each other in those two continents, to include us and Canada. If we're keeping people from coming from Africa and coming illegally into South America, if we're helping those countries down there, Brazil, Venezuela, any of them countries down there, if we're helping them prevent illegal migration into their country, we're also preventing illegal migration into our countries. We're all about the border securities and shitting over in Eastern Europe with Russia all the time. We're worried about the Middle East border securities, which we don't do properly. The only thing that's going half-ass right over there is Israel and Iraq, let's be honest.
It's because they don't want to fix the problem.
Exactly.
They want the problem. Like they've been talking about the problem for how many years? If they actually deny
the Iraqis fixed it, we taught them, and now they're fixing their own
denial. Denial is only
the only thing what are we doing in Iraq? Only thing we're doing is providing support and surveillance. That's all we're doing.
Same thing we should have kept doing in
Afghanistan.
That one country. You guys should be very proud. The year anniversary of that, we both managed to keep our mouths. Oh shit! Never mind. It's coming. See, I'm way ahead. I'm way ahead in my head. But I still got like another month and a half, and we're there. Damn. Yeah.
Side note: I wanted to give a shout out to Woody, the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient from World War II, died this last week.
Well, I think I was actually just reading that.
I think it was Woody Williams.
I was just
he was in the Marine Corps.
Well, you were going to make coffee. I saw it.
He passed away. I just wanted to bring that up on the show. He deserves it.
Country's going to hell.
It's my duty.
As I said, going to hell. But all right, it's all going down the drain. There you go.
Well, he said that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that was
word for word.
Yeah, it's going down the drain. But anyway, 246th birthday. Before we get into any of the other stuff, after that long ramble that we both put together because we're gifted, I just want to say happy birthday to America. Everyone remember that. Look how much taxation without representation led to all hell breaking loose and armed people giving us what? A country. And then Britain kept trying to come back and get us, and we kept telling them no. It was that got us here. It's one of the biggest human experiments ever until COVID vaccines. They took over that one. That then became the greatest human experiment ever. Thanks for taking that one away from us. But just what strong men gave us the country. Hard times give you strong men, and then strong men get ridiculed for being toxically masculine, which then become weak men, and then weak men put us exactly where we are right now, which is going to take another holy shit. It's going to take an holy shit moment like, a 9/11 or Pearl Harbor or something to wake most of them up. I hope it doesn't come to that, but I'm sorry, but men are still arguing.
Well, I'll be honest.
I will be very happy, at least because of the Supreme Court. People went from not being able to define what a woman was to all, and men could get pregnant, to all hell breaking loose. And suddenly they all knew what women were. So thank you, Supreme Court. Again, I know I already said it, but congratulations for making women suddenly know exactly what a woman is. It only took about 12 seconds.
I mean, I'll be honest. In regards to what you just said, though, I'd make a point on that. if you're going to have a strong America, you got to have a strong border, and you got to be able to step back and go, that life changing event, like literally life altering event for the world, was this last weekend when they blew the shit out of Kharkiv, and Putin goes, "I won," and we're still arguing about getting rocket launchers to them.
Hey,
It baffles me. Out of all the things we've been involved with the last few decades, that one, it bothers me.
hey,
But
see, most people that have half the people that have opinions on that don't actually know what they're talking about.
okay, I got you.
You know, they're just what send them money. Like they sent them this, yeah, but you know how much of it actually made it there.
Well, the thing that bothers me is why aren't any of our generals, all of our generals that we have involved right now, have somewhat, probably, if not heavily, been involved with Iraq or Afghanistan. So with that being said, why has no one stepped back and said, this is the only event in our nation's history where a country needs our help, but they're only asking for one thing and one thing only. They don't want a soul one dropped on the ground. They just want equipment. They're going to do everything else themselves. They just need equipment. This is the simplest, easiest, and probably the cheapest one we've ever done. Why don't we just send them the damn equipment?
Because there's people that only know how to talk that are in charge. They don't actually know how to do anything. Just shout out to you, Lloyd Austin, because guess what? You can't even talk.
You can't just say him. You can add Mackenzie and Millie too.
Oh yeah, but Mackenzie, he can at least talk. Millie, the man can talk. Lloyd Austin, and there's Millie saving his ass during all the Afghanistan stuff. What he's trying to say, what Millie just Austin can't even talk. You got the job for one reason and one reason only, and Joe Biden made it very, very clear when he said why he nominated you. Was it because of talent? Was it because of ability? Was it because of anything? It was because of melanin. And the way Afghanistan and now this and everything else is gone, you're proving the point. Because I'm pretty sure you guys have to approve, drone strikes on people and all that stuff before they, it has to go through his chain of command.
Okay, involved.
It has to go through his chain of command and people that he put in place. Yeah, but it goes through them. Everything they do goes through him. Exactly. And when they're doing stuff like that, guess who else knows? Secretary of State.
Yeah. Way to go.
When there's sheer incompetence, we get the world that we're in now.
And it started in Benghazi. No. Scratch that.
Mogadishu.
Started in 2000. Good point. That's a good point. It did start there. But it just
what do you know? Those people have always hated us. They're always going to hate us.
And they're going to hate us till the end of time.
We could say
never like us again, and that's a sad part of all of it.
What do you know? Bin Laden loved us. Yeah, we helped them get Russians out of there, but then we stuck around, and apparently then we became public enemy. Loved us until we gave him what he wanted, and then he took all that training and weapons and his millions of dollars from his family and turned it against us. Why? Because it doesn't matter what we do with them. They like us when they need us. And then the second they don't need us, they will kill us, all of us. And they will not care. No matter where they are all the same crazy mindset. No matter what country you stick the crazy people in, to include this one. They've hated us forever. They will hate us forever. And something stupid is bound to happen again because weak men make what we're in right now. And Jesus Christ, the man that's running the country allegedly had one foot on the ground and then completely fell over trying to get his other foot out, just pull his foot out of the thing on his bike. Fell up the stairs.
What happened to the days of revered men that we respected in this country and learned from? What happened to those days? What happened to those Morgan people? Freemans, the Kennedys?
Those people had toxic masculinity. So we had to beat that out of people, which is why now, again, people are saying that, again, last year, when the white crayon was dubbed racist, offensive, and incendiary, the word white on the crayon was dubbed incendiary. Like,
I'd rather be offended than have my rights trampled on.
No, most people don't see it that way because people are dumb, but don't worry, we're going to get to that. First, whatever you have on Well, that's officially out from the border because again, they put it all into a giant fucking computer. If they could tell us how many they have by day at the end of the month, how the hell come it takes them an extra 2.5 weeks to
In
release
regards
them?
to the numbers, what pisses me off is I had 2 numbers given to me yesterday. And then literally 5 hours after I got those numbers, they were already contesting the numbers they had released. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait till the middle of the fucking month again. This is stupid, but whatever, because those numbers are already contested. Not even a day later.
Oh, I know.
Didn't make it 12 hours, not even one full work shift later.
Oh, I know. They can't
So
help themselves.
long story short, in the numbers, we do know for a fact last month there was over 300,000 known getaways. That alone scares me. That's usually whatever we know of. That's usually 1/3 of what actually comes across. So if we had 300,000 known getaways, that means there was probably actually 8 to 900,000 getaways then, known and unknown. And that, even if one person, every single one individual brought across 1 pound of fentanyl, that's enough to eliminate the United States out of them 900,000 people that kill America, all of us.
And don't forget splinter
That's a very
cells.
sobering, down and out statement, but it's a reality statement, and nobody thinks about that shit.
Hey, don't forget also,
Damn numbers show it.
if the this will get closer so it sounds prettier. If the trend, because we're catching people on the terror watch list from like Somalia coming across the southern border, wonder why they're, wonder how they pulled that one off. It's pretty easy. If they catch just one of them from one of those countries, or anyone on the terror watch list, if they're catching any, how many do you think they're not catching?
They say for every one that comes across known got away,
We
there's
catch,
2 more. So I mean,
we
that's
catch
what
a
they
few
say.
a month.
I don't know the reality in that. Maybe if we got a hold of Barton or something, we can find out.
We
But
catch 3 a month, a couple a month. What, think of the ones that just got right through that are getting ready to rain all sorts of havoc on us.
and and everybody gives that Tom Holman dude shit, but he said something a couple weeks ago that truly still in my head makes my hair stand up on my neck.
He's like you. He has the you problem. What? He's got the haircut. He always looks pissed off. What? He's just, he sounds pissed off just by the tone of his voice all the time. What?
Yeah, I have that.
He incites just rage just by looking at the guy. Like, what? He looks like he's about to be a dick. Then he opens his mouth. You go, yep, he's a dick.
Well,
he might be telling you the truth, but he comes across.
What he said is, and I may screw the numbers up, so don't quote me on this, but I'm gonna paraphrase it. Basically, what I understood from when he got done with that 5.5-minute interview is for every one person that comes across, the next one that comes across that we're not apprehending, for every other one that comes across, there's a chance they could be a terrorist, a child rapist, a murderer. I mean, he says there's numerous things these people could be, and we'll never fucking have. He said we'll never have a knowledge about it. We'll never know about it. There will be no way for us to know. These people are coming across. They either want to kill people, rape people, sell drugs, kidnap people, traffic the humans and women for rape and sex and all sorts of other stuff. I mean,
E, all of the above.
Exactly.
Or Z.
And the problem with that, my biggest problem with all that is you say that and it's like, man, this is really pathetic, because a decently educated 10-year-old child can look at these numbers and look at these things if they can understand the words completely and go, man, those numbers don't look good. Those don't add up. Yeah, those people, yeah, he's definitely not in that category.
Who the told you that you were allowed to just do whatever you want, TV?
But anyways, no matter how you look at it, you can't not understand there's a human problem behind all this.
No, it's just like everything else. It's a human being problem.
And just like a gun thing. And I'm thinking about
we're adding to the human being problem every month at the border. Yeah.
And for all the people who, I'm thinking about doing a study on this. I'm thinking about buying a camera, a recorder, and a huge, massive external hard drive and hook it up so I just record for weeks, if not a month or two. And I'm going to take a gun apart, because they say guns kill people. I'm going to record that gun in pieces sitting there. And if guns kill people, I expect to see the gun put itself together, find a round, and shoot itself. Because they say guns kill people. I just want to leave that blunt, simple statement out there, because every person that wants to talk about taking the guns away and all these other scenarios, because I'm going to change the subject a little bit, all the people that talk about changing in regards to all the shooting stuff that we talk about here, other news media, whether it's good or bad or true or not, it all boils down to the fact that you talk about red flag laws. I don't agree with them. If they work properly, I would say let's do it. But they have simple ones on the books right now in a lot of states. They don't even enforce those ones. And they think they're going to implement new ones that could take more rights away from people like you or me.
And as we're getting to shootings, I just want to say one thing before we, as we're going, to quote the great, what's his name? He's the guy that drinks the scotch, whatever. Guns don't kill people. Husbands that come home early, they kill people. The gun
Ron,
there you go. I was thinking Ron, but the only thing that's coming to mind was like Jeremy. No, not Jeremy. But the gun just happened to be there. And we used to laugh about stuff like that because it's true and it's funny to hear all the stupid, except now everyone's turned. Yeah, now everyone's turned into the stupid. But yeah, I also saw the same thing you said, arguments, people like while I was waiting on you this morning. We went and got coffee again. I was just scrolling and reading through idiocy. And people literally like, we need to get people to make new laws, do like vote for that someone like just book just tore into them. And,
I would love
but the basis of their argument was, how about we just actually get people that'll actually enforce the laws that are already on the books instead of trying to make more that they're just not going to that they're not going to enforce. How about we elect people that will actually enforce the law? What? It's a lot easier to solve the problem if people enforce the laws. I mean, you
want to enforce the laws?
Only put your hand on the Bible and swore that you would, uphold the Constitution, all that.
See this here? This is all of my state, county, and local municipality election options right here. This is everything that's being voted on for my state and lower government. You cannot look at this and go, okay, we have these laws, we're not enforcing them. But nobody's taking that to the Supreme Court, except for every once in a while you get one random straggler that does. So group A is screwing off, don't care. Well, now they're trying to rewrite laws and put this law in there. But even though those are already on the books, they're trying to write laws here that will contradict the laws there. When all it is if we took the simple laws like the state of Michigan already has and implemented them and actually enforced them completely, all the problems that are happening right now would be solved. This kid that did the shooting, this
Island Park.
There's been so many shootings in the last 6 days. I can't even keep things straight no more.
Hey, you saw my list, but those are just the quick ones that I wrote
Island
down.
Park shooting. This kid, Cremo. Let's start there. That's the guy I was trying to think of, anyways. So we got Cremo, right? This kid in 2000. Okay, let's back up. I have my own psych problems. I've had my own legal issues. I've went through my legal issues. I've come out on top every time. I'm not saying I don't have problems. I do. I will never deny that, because if I ever deny that in life to anyone else, I'll be lying to myself, and I can't do that because, well, I've had to work too hard to get where I'm at right now mentally. So I'm not going to not recognize that, because I feel like I've done good. Don't care what anyone says. I haven't beat nobody's ass in quite a few years.
Better recognize.
So anyways, with that being said, I deserve my rights to own a gun. Have I had my issues? Yeah. Do I get mad at people? Yeah. I think there's an absolute large number of people who are flat out stupid or pure ignorant. I hate the VA with an absolute passion, like to the point where I think no veteran should ever have to suffer through anything I've ever suffered with ever again for the rest of my life. I'm not out there shooting nobody. I own firearms. I have firearms. My parents have firearms here. I'm not out shooting nobody. Don't get me wrong. I have the skill and the ability. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not doing it. And honestly, don't you think if someone was to do it and have a legitimate reason, veterans would be the first ones? But that's not what I'm out for. See, a good average law-abiding citizen would love this. For the person who's never been in the military, they just want people to care about other people. That would make America better. For somebody who's a veteran, or somebody who's even still on active duty currently, or for future people who's going to be in the military, it's It's real simple, America. Make their time and service worth their time and service. If people just did that, our country tomorrow would change. Sorry,
It would
a
help.
simple statement has to be made because it bothers me because this kid in 2019, what I think it was 2019, right? When he got
2019. Yeah.
Yep, that's when they confiscated all the knives and stuff from his house, dagger, the sword, and there was
16,
there was
16
something
knives.
that was confiscated as well on that list that I heard. Yes.
16 knives. Jeez.
Well, that's
I already have
what
that
that's
many.
easy to do though. I mean, I have
No,
that in
I don't-
pocket over the years. Now, granted, they're not readily accessible. I mean, the only one that's like readily accessible, the one that's in the pocket.
I don't even think I have 16 kitchen knives.
I do. I have more than 60 knives in this house, but my whole thing is like the knives that these people are talking about. All those knives for me are locked up. It's just like my firearm. You can't just get to my shit. And that's why I was going back to that, because in 2019 they confiscated 16 knives from him on the assumption of 2 different threats. So with that being said, if I had done that with my psych issues that I have personally, dude, I'd be, not only would I be in jail, I'd never be able to own a firearm again. I wouldn't be able to walk into a store that sells guns. But yet, this kid legit said he's going to kill everybody. Now, I'm not going to lie to my doctors. I told him flat out, like, hey, I'm not suicidal. If I was being accused the other way, I could see how people could prove it, but I'm not that either. I said, now I will be openly honest. I'm old school. I have no problem saying that. If somebody is absolutely doing a stupid or a no-no, I have no problem beating their fucking ass. I have no problem with that. But I also came from a generation where if you did wrong, you got your ass beat, corrected, and that was that. Maybe that's different. Because of that, I don't know. My whole point is, with that being said, is this kid had already been caught with knives, had the assumption of that he was going to kill people, so they came to his house and confiscated those knives. If that's the case, if it was a serious enough threat to take his knives, that should have went on his permanent record, period. But my problem is, if you do that, I'm 100% behind. The fault will be like I experienced a few months back when I was dealing with that background check stuff that I finally got solved. I got charged with something and then got convicted of something completely different. But yet I'm being held responsible and being held accountable for felony charges that had nothing to do with anything I did. You don't think that even though I was innocent, I didn't do anything wrong, but yeah, I'm still holding the accountability in the actions of somebody else. Like, so if you got red flag laws and you enforce everything like it's supposed to be, but then you take and add situations like that where you have people who can't do their job and add stuff into paperwork or do paperwork properly, the system can't work properly, even if you're enforcing those laws. Just like in an example is all these cities that have these shootings, Chicago area, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Jackson, Michigan, Flint, Michigan, Detroit, New York City, the outskirts of New York over there, Buffalo. All these shootings are happening, and they all have the same thing in common. People get arrested by the cops. The cops follow the law. That's probably the most by the law actual people involved, even though there's some crooked cops out there. When it comes to actually following the laws that are written, the cops are probably the most honest in the situation most of the time anymore. That's sad to say that. But with that being said, if you're a felon in the state of Michigan, you cannot have the possession of a firearm in any way, shape, or form. Period. Period. So going off of that, you know, what I was getting at is who's going to be the accountable one? Who's going to be the one that keeps this shit in check? If you enforce the laws the way you're supposed to, cops bring somebody to jail, they get arrested for this, they're guilty of it, there's evidence to prove it, and yet tomorrow morning they're out collecting their shit from the other side of the jailhouse where a civilian would walk in. I'm sorry. This motherfucker just stabbed somebody. He's out on bond. This son bitch just threatened to kill the governor or who was the guy that just Kavanaugh? A guy was threatening to kill Kavanaugh. Like, people like that get in trouble and they're out the same day or the next morning. It's like, no wonder cops in certain areas of Michigan are going, you call, we can't help unless you're being physically at that moment raped or shot. They can't help you. That's a problem. We have really lost some values more than just like basic values. I'm talking complete societal values. We've lost our financial side of it. We've lost our mental health side of it. I mean, I'm afraid to send my kids outside by themselves anymore.
Hey,
it all boils right back down to the same thing. It's a people fucking problem, not a gun problem.
yeah. And again, we go back to 2019, attempted suicide. Then he said he was going to kill everyone. They came back, took all of his, like they let it just be handled as a mental.
That's what I'm saying. If
they let it handled as a mental health problem.
This is where it's a people problem. If he was a threat enough to himself to justify removing those knives, how was he not flagged in some way, shape, or form on paper? Hey, this guy can't buy a gun.
Hey, because liberals said what? Remember, they said that when people are having mental health issues, we should send mental health people and not deal with it as a criminal thing. You know, most of these people that do crazy stuff like this, and it's all mental health, turn around and do crazy criminal things.
That's fine.
They do crazy criminal things down the road. Why? Because you don't actually do anything to fix the underlying problem.
These
people like drug addicts
keep getting in trouble. Like I had that incident with my dad years ago. I got help I've had help since I was on active duty. You know that. I can honestly say that, and people can verify that. I've been getting help since I was on active duty. I still have and retain the legal right to own a gun because I have done my due diligence. I do what I'm supposed to, and I took accountability for my own actions. I was guilty of what I did to my dad. Do I feel bad and have remorse for what I did the day after? And I have ever since. I also have never stopped getting help. I've never not owned my mistakes. But yet people like me are who they want to take the rights from. But then there's people, and I'm going to use a local example, okay? Because this is something that I can wholeheartedly speak knowledgeable on. That pro-life building, the building that the Jackson Pro-Life and Tim Wahlberg shared down here, downtown in Jackson. I ain't gonna say the name of the street because I'm not looking to cause more problems for them. But they got vandalized, shit was distracted, they had to board windows and doors up. That is an honest to God crime in the state of Michigan. And I'm pretty confident saying every single state and territory that's involved with the United States, it's pretty much like that. I'm just gonna leave it there. Where was gonna go with that?
I have no idea.
Oh, they did that to that building. Building's all fucked up. They ain't getting no money for that. Now they got to pay for that out of their pockets. And my question to all that boils down to this: they haven't caught him yet. Why? This tells me that somewhere, some government official has said, "Hey, man, all these pro-choice groups, we're not gonna address that. We're not gonna push it hard, just enough to look like we're doing something." And if anyone wants to argue this with me, they're more than welcome to get a hold of us via social media, and I'll have this conversation with you with ease, with willingness. The whole point of it is if you're not holding the fucking people accountable, your DAs, your prosecuting attorneys, they suck. They're the problem.
Thanks, Soros.
And there's a judge. I ain't gonna mention this name, but there's a judge, and I won't say a he or she, they don't know how to do their job in the city of Jackson, because for this county, they suck. They let people walk that shouldn't walk, and they charge people and hold people accountable for things they shouldn't be held accountable for. I was lied about in court, hence the reason why I was proven innocent. I had to fight tooth and nail to prove my innocence. They automatically assumed I was guilty. That's where problems start, is with the people. If you have people who are sick not getting held accountable, there's not just the person who's sick involved. There's the person who has either the inability or the unwillingness to do their job, who's not holding them people accountable in the proper way. Either make it so they can't own a gun, or make it so they have to earn their right to keep buying, keep the ability to have their gun. They have to keep, if they're going to keep it, they got to earn it. You know what I'm saying? You don't just get to kill somebody and have a gun the next day legally. The shit is very simple. Sorry, I'm going to shut up. I'm not going to get pissed. So.
No need for that. Yeah, again, I sent you the numbers. I'll go over those and let you breathe for a few minutes. Lots of different numbers coming out from Chicago just over the weekend. Somewhere around 68 people shot and 8 killed between 6 p.m. Friday and midnight when we turned Tuesday, and 51 separate shootings allegedly. Some people saying there were 80 injured and 13 dead. Again, allegedly. For some reason, even the police departments can't figure it out and actually get real numbers. Congratulations,
the
guys.
News, the local news channel I seen last night, the numbers that they reported are closer to your first ones you got on your list.
Yeah.
The one I seen last night.
Yep. Say it's all over the board. One of them was last night. One of them is like they're all over. But anyway, 21 people shot in New York City on Monday alone, from what you see there. And then we get some Fox numbers coming in. 81 shot, including 12 fatally wounded between Friday morning and Monday evening. 3 mass shootings, 2 of them on Friday with 9 injured and 2 dead. And then Monday there were 5 injured. New York City, same time frame, 52 shot, 9 killed compared to 32 and 8 from last year, which way up. Philly, more than a dozen shot and 8 killed, because they actually haven't released any exact numbers. I think it's Wednesday. I think you'd be able to tell us how many people died in a 4-day span.
Well,
someone needs to get that guy a fan.
It depends, huh?
Someone needs to get that guy a fan.
Yeah, we're gonna readdress that. This is a new location. I'm getting used to it.
Gave that away.
Anyways,
the yellow wall.
It won't be yellow for long. What were you just talking about? You just sidetracked me.
Yeah. But
Philly. My question in all this is this: are they holding off on the numbers because I feel like the Highland Park thing? If they shot somebody, like this guy shot a shit ton of people. Well, originally only 6 were dead. Now they're starting to die off. Just like with the whole semi thing with the migrants last week. And it started out only 40 some. Well, it ended well above 50 because you got to include the fact that people didn't die right away. They went to the hospital, this, that, and everything else.
I don't give a damn. They give us a number like more than a dozen. What you can give
us.
But
they can give you the number
you
as
can
of
say
that
estimated.
Moment, or they can say as of the moment.
That was no shit last night from Philly. More than a dozen shot. Won't give you any
I feel
even
like last
estimate.
Night,
so at least 13, like by now. You can tell us how many people were shot. You know how many people were shot. Dead people, that number changes. The amount of people who are actually physically shot, that should not suddenly change if they were shot between Friday and Monday. Someone's not going to come in. Someone's not coming in Tuesday night and going, hey, by the way, I was shot on Sunday. Like, if we do something, like, no one's going to do that. So, that number's not going.
We're going to say that there's got to be a disconnect there somewhere because
they're just
between
worthless.
In the health system down there, I'm pretty confident they have accurate numbers.
Yeah, but Philly's a cesspool. I've said it forever. Like, Philly was doing more liberal things during COVID. Like, they were the ones being the first to do everything. Not San Francisco, not New York City. Like, Philly was on track.
Sure.
They're a cesspool.
It was northeastern countries that started a lot of that shit.
2 cops were shot. And by the way, not a person of interest to be even named, even though they were shot, in a city full of cameras and security cameras, not even a person of interest shot, knows who shot those police officers. Again, shocker. Baltimore.
I'm going to call bullshit on that one.
Yeah. Well, they don't care. Baltimore, 11 shooting incidents with 9 injured, 4 homicides, 90 arrests, 2 attempted murders, 11 handgun arrests, 36 confirmed robbery incidents, 5 robbery arrests, 54 aggravated assault arrests, and 2 stolen auto arrests. And then again, Sacramento, Richmond, Kenosha again. What's up, Kenosha? Glad to hear your name and shooting incidents again. Kansas City, Boston, Texas, a few, like, there's a shooting in at least every state over 4th of July weekend. There's shootings like every day in every state in the country. Like, people get shot every day. And your big headline is, we have a gun problem because every state has a shooting. Like
I believe in law-abiding gun owners.
You do realize that's
a way to solve these things.
You do realize that's people get shot every day in every state. Like, your big headline is, we need to get guns because, like, that happens every day.
Well, literally. They can look at it here. I'll give
every
this
day.
for this area. Ski guns, like you were just giving an example of, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Kind of reminds me of Jackson, Michigan. The more shit happens, the more guns are going to be bought, and the more they're going to be prevalent, and the more people you're going to see pissed off locally. You don't think between me and a couple other neighbors this last year and a half, that's a huge part of the reason why anything's changed around here. I've got these people scared to death because I don't care anymore. I've let them know I'm going to start hurting people if they don't stop their problems. I've told the people at the hotel, I've told Starbucks, I've told Aka, I've told Bob Evans, and I've told the police departments. If shit doesn't change on your guys' ends, I'll change it for you. It takes people standing up to change these things, and not the crazy 8% of people in this country either. The ones that think that no guns will solve everything. Well, it doesn't stop anyways. Stupid people.
Saw someone say that last night that what they're a gun owner, what don't think that what like we have gun, and I still think we have a gun problem. Like, you're an idiot. Why? There's over 400 million guns in the country.
If it was a gun problem, all the people would be dead. But it's not a gun problem.
There's a gun problem. Everyone that didn't have a gun
Would be dead.
That would be a problem. We have a criminal problem.
Yeah.
Carry on.
And there's no way to avoid this because it all boils down to people. And I don't understand. That's probably the one main disconnect that I like in my lifetime to be explained, and how people can honestly say there's a gun problem and other people problem. I want that to be explained before I die. If I understand that, I will have fulfilled my life if I know that before I die.
And I just want someone to comment on this and tell me how making more laws when they're against law-abiding citizens, when they're not already even enforcing the laws on the books, how making more complicated and expensive for law-abiding citizens is going to do anything to stop criminals who aren't paying any of those taxes or fees or anything from being criminals. Like, if you can actually honestly answer that question,
yeah,
you will make my year. How with us even more, and I don't even have any, but again, with people that are following the laws and all that and doing it properly, how costing them more money and doing all that is going to stop criminals from doing more things. Or how is being able to, conceal carry in New York City, as people are coming, well, now the gun problem is going to get even worse. Like, those are all like tracked, and they have permits and their serial numbers, and everyone knows it. Like, there's a registry where they know where all of them are, who they're registered to, what's going on, what them carrying it, but they're obviously not committing crimes now with the registered guns, because if they were, they could track the motherfuckers.
What's that guy's name off Fox News in the morning? He his son's a tall guy that Biden don't like.
Ducey,
yeah, I don't remember his first. Steve Ducey. He said it, and I'm with him 100% on this. What's going to have to happen is the physical change that will take place will be like we were talking about the other day when you and I were talking about some of them private landowners down there on the border. They're going to complain and complain. Nobody's going to listen. Nothing's going to happen. They're going to try and change policies. So they're doing something. They're not doing a damn thing. If anything, they're doing less and making it worse. Therefore, what will change it is when our single-minded American homeowner gets tired of it and takes their gun that they own legally and starts defending their property against all these illegal immigrants invading their property and destroying their property. Literally, if I walk down here and was to take my camera and record just walking down the side of Boardman for a half a mile and then come back and send you that, I guarantee the first thing you'd say is that fence line along the highway looks like fence lines in Iraq. There's trash everywhere. When I was a child, this city didn't have trash like this.
No, it's a decay. And that's really on my big last thing that I wrote down, which you didn't see because I didn't type it up. I mean, it was in my head. Now I'm at least, my brain's, the coffee's kicking in, the bang is slowly, I can feel like my blood pressure rising, which means all of those stimulants are finally kicking the sleeping pills out of my system. I can see clearly now. The fog is gone. Which, by the way, thank you, everyone, before I even get into it. In my neighborhood, for all the fireworks they're setting off that they're not supposed to. Thank you, because I have seen foggy mornings in here. We get some thick fog. Walter used to live down here. I've seen really foggy mornings that weren't
Fog, I think with pot. When you have fog first formation, you're doing something right.
It doesn't get like you're talking about pollen. What we don't get cold enough for anything to what we have we have pollen just everywhere. But for giving us for my whole neighborhood and sky being like LA County level smog because we lit off that much shit to the what? Thank you. That made me smile to pull back in and go, God, what, did it suddenly get foggy? That's not fog. Anyway, it goes back to the gun thing. Again, wrote it down there. Infringing people's Second Amendment rights won't get us anywhere. But when everyone says, well, it's a gun problem, like, no, what we, the people, are extremely pissed off, at least all of us normal ones. But on the other side, see, we're just mad on the other side of it. Like when you take the people doing crazy, like what we have turned this place, like there's no discipline, there's no anything. And for how many years straight now? Well, we're over a decade since Obama, when they turned everything into racism. That's when the real bad turn happened. Or George Bush doesn't like black people. You're welcome, Kanye. Just so I can see Mike Myers go. Now, what do you say to that one? What? Nothing. We have turned the country into a giant petri dish of just hate and discontent and violence, which is what got us here in the first place, which is why the numbers just keep going up and up and up and all this stuff, because all they've spewed is hate and hate thy neighbor. And if they don't agree with you on politics, what they're Nazis and Klansmen and racists and everything else, and turned everyone against everybody, which is why this keeps getting worse, because there's no discipline, and everyone, to include politicians, the people on The View, celebrities, have pretty much been calling anyone on the right Nazi, skinhead, Klansman, misogynistic, racist, miserable piles of shit. And I mean, look at all the attack them. Maxine Waters telling them to get in their face, tell them they're not welcome here, attack them, push back. But all the stuff, the rhetoric that has been pushed for forever is called, this is why the numbers keep going, because they've pushed nothing but hate for over a decade, and they keep doing it. And they really, really did it for 6 years, what the hell a year, since he came down the damn elevator. Like they turned it up to 1 million that were all that way. Like even Drew went, well, you're going to lose. Well, so I'm going to lose a lot. Oh, yeah, that's because that's because most Trump supporters are racist, like, and skinheads. Like, what, you suddenly think 78 million people? We suddenly have 78 million skinheads and racists and all that in the country. Like, you really, what? Like, they have and the education system has gotten so much worse, and people are so they have dumbed people down and spewed garbage and nonsense for forever and hit you with it so much. It's been proven. You badger someone with information enough times, everyone's gonna believe it.
Well, this is the big government Ronald Reagan warned about.
Yeah, and like that is why we are here.
No one still said anything about who the SCOTUS leaker is. I'm just saying. If a big government across the board problem, how do we have a leaker for the SCOTUS and not know who the hell it is over a month later? I'm just 2 months now almost. How?
Yeah. And how the hell were people that alarmed when the final ruling came down after they leaked the thing 2 months ago?
2 months earlier.
Like, you knew what was coming.
Like 40 some days.
And here you are, just, okay. But anyway, like, they have turned us into a burning petri dish of hate, discontent, and violence. And then again, doing nothing about 2020. Look at half the people in the country. They thought it was mostly fiery, but mostly peaceful. Like, yeah, never mind the billions of dollars worth of damage, buildings torched, people, killed, federal agents mauled with rock soup cans, laser beams, so their eyes are for the rest of their life. Like, how much of that, firebombing people, like, happened? At least, like, all of that, and they got told, what, it's okay, it's mostly peaceful. And Kamala and Nancy and what people should be in the streets, what they should keep at it. Hopefully they stay at it when all hell was breaking loose and they thought it was completely normal while they're looting. And what did everyone say? What, keep the stuff, just,
it's kind of like the guy.
We support you. Keep it. What? Just make sure you mark down anything you sell that you stole. What? Make sure you claim it on your taxes. Like,
well, that's like
that's your form of accountability. Like, they're on camera with 60-inch TVs over their head, going, "Woo!" What? No one got arrested.
Well, not just that, they said there was no violence. An example of no violence. And I'm going to ask this. If there was no violence, why did Mike Tobin have to
I'll be right
shut
back.
the camera off, give that lovely gentleman a hug? Is that what you're trying to tell me? No, he shut that camera off because he thought he was getting ready to have to whoop somebody's ass on national television. And he wanted to defend the situation and diffuse it without being seen. Yeah, tell me you're no hate and discontent.
I'll be right back. Thanks,
Literally,
Mike.
they cut it off. A few minutes later, he was right back. I think it was like 2 minutes, and they said it was like 2 minutes and some change.
Uno momento, por favor.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You know, but yeah, like that's really what it is to me. Like broken families, they're not holding anyone accountable for crimes. They're pushing just nothing but hate all the time, 24/7 around the clock. It's funny when I use vidIQ because I'm going through all the old, stuff, videos and stuff, like how much like I type, like hate speech and stuff. And it's amazing how many times the Donald and FNs and Fox in some rhetoric, whether it's initials or something, all pops up as the top. Like it's amazing. What have you ever turned on The View? Why? As I have heard, you can hear more hate and discontent in The View in one episode, and ignorance, blatant, blunt, horrific ignorance, than you can in like the whole entire day of Fox stuff.
Well, and you want to show the amount of blatant ignorance and blatant biased media and outlets and anything like that.
Show them an overhead shot of Minneapolis 3 days after George
Google.
Floyd.
Go to Google and type in Michigan election candidates backed by Trump. No results. You will not find one item on Google that shows who he's backed in Michigan.
Don't worry though, when I put in a media bias, don't worry. The top ones that pop up there, I mean, you see Fox, but suddenly CNN's a higher one than them, MSNBC. I'm like, well, at least vidIQ admits it. Hate speech. Well, there's all that way. Media bias. There's I'm going.
Yeah.
Didn't see that one coming. Hey, but yeah, like that's what got us here, and they're gonna blame it on everything else. But it's a problem that they created that they wanted to be here, which is why they're not doing anything to fix.
My question is, where's Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell on this? Why ain't they saying something about it? They're the speakers of their minority party.
Mitch is probably looking for his top teeth because no one's seen them in decades. He's probably
others. This guy standing. You got these people standing out there, running their mouths, talking about this, talking about that, supporting this, supporting that. Well, hey, Ted Cruz, guess what? You're supporting all this shit in Ukraine. I'm for it. But what about the border? What about the SCOTUS? I want to know. Why aren't he? What? I'll leave it there.
Because, again, there's some battles, I will say, where even the good ones, I understand where, because there are still good ones on both sides of the party. Aisle, like there's still good people on, both sides that aren't complete psychopaths, but a lot of people, yes, but getting to my point, because believe it or not, I do have a few of those in my head. Like there's such a minority of people that are actually good and actually trying to do anything that there's probably they can introduce it all they want. And then they'll just sit on it for years because they know that none of the rhinos and whatever you'd like to call, I mean, at least we have something called a rhino. I don't know what you call a Democrat, that pussies, the spineless ones, I mean, because they're just bowing to whatever everyone else wants. Spineless cowards, woke people, all of it. Like there's so many of them that nothing's ever going to get through. I mean, look at it. They did the gun stuff for the background checks. It's amazing. They were all introduced, last March?
Yeah.
Amazing how, look, we got these new bills. What you said on
and
it.
he's referring to March 2021, people, if you're referring to last March, not March of 2022. March.
It's amazing. There it is, being announced like the day after Uvalde. Isn't that? That's a coincidence.
At that moment I started reading it, remember?
I looked at it and I went, actually, it was more like.
Actually, I lied. I think I called you immediately.
It was one of those, wait, what? Yeah, like literally, like, oh, look what we did. Like, yeah, but they wrote it a year before, which means they knew that they were just waiting for something stupid to happen. Like, look, we're trying to help to make it like they knew it was coming. They sat on it and didn't do anything, which actually makes them even more dumpster fires than they really are. Why? And everyone can say, well, Republicans are that too. Yeah, but they have the majority. Nancy's the speaker, which means
I'll be honest.
she
If
controls the scheduling and all of that. Like they run all of it. They control what goes through, and they sat on their hands.
exactly what I was gonna say. That's where I was going with it. They have both. Well, I have all three. They have the House, they have the Senate, and they have the president. Democrat Party across the board. Okay. You take this list of people who voted for that gun bill that was first introduced in March of 2021. Every single person that voted for that voted yay. I would definitely question their alliance with the American people, because anyone that can vote for something in reaction to an event like Uvalde, even though the bill that you just voted for to remedy scenarios like what just happened in Uvalde, you introduced that bill well over a year before that. I'm sorry, I won't accept it. Now, had that bill been written the month before that particular situation or in the days after, then it would have been more understandable to use that bill. But I'm sorry, it's well over a year old, which means it was probably actually like 3 years old.
I'm just saying it's.
I don't want that.
They're just sitting on it, waiting. Like, here's a good idea, people. What you
those,
do know?
Those who voted yay are not allegiant. They are not aligned with our country.
I'm just saying, you guys do realize that, because you have to write up that cover page on all of them. You could have just let it sit in a computer file until that happened and then print it off, and no one would have known and introduced it then. Like, you're shady and crooked, and you can't even do shady and crooked without proving how crooked you actually are. Like, you can't even be crooked properly. How the hell are you being a politician properly if you can't even get, like, literally just wait, print. What? Here you go. What, we did it. Yay. Like, it just goes, and none of us can argue the fact, because the date wouldn't be right there going, yeah, well, And don't worry. They voted to make daylight savings time a forever thing before they voted on background check stuff and reforms. Like, that was more like, try to say, well, don't will me on nothing. They passed they passed bills making daylight savings time indefinite. It'll be here forever. Like, before they passed that, like, because daylight savings time has more of a priority than background checks to stop crazy people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Priorities. They find all the ways they can to waste time until something happens, because no matter who you are, no one can say that. Politicians, rhinos, all of them.
Who voted a yay on that bill is not aligned with American people. That's all I'm saying. Because the simple fact that that bill was introduced well over a year, I don't think anyone that has common sense and is pro-America would not have voted for that bill, because simply based on the time.
Well, no, they
based on a timeline.
No, they played their game though. I will give the Democrats that. They play the game better than anybody. They waited until tragedy. They waited until tragedy struck. And it conveniently was in the year of a midterm, which a lot of these people are up for re-election, which means then if they say no, it'll be nothing but a smear campaign saying that they're all against this, that, and the other thing when it came to, enhancing all this stuff. So then all the campaign ads are done, and it buries them. Like, so there was one of, like, they played the one, either you're going to vote yes or you're, like, they play that game very, very well.
And they do it a lot.
They are masters of that. What? Something stupid will happen. What? Don't you worry. What? Something stupid will happen. And boom. Now, if you guys don't vote for it, you're the Antichrist. And you want, they could just run, you want kids to die and everything. Like,
even though they're in the wrong.
Yeah. You can see it in your head. You can see them smearing them already.
Corrupt bastard.
That easy, but that seems, like a positive play. Like, I mean, crooked bastards. Yeah, that actually might not be a positive place, but that's where I'm going to leave. All of my thoughts is it's just all too convenient.
Back to the pro-American part. We have to close this out on some Americanism. I always reference that newsroom episode, the very first one, opening scene. Jeff Daniels had it right. We did do great once. We were really good at
incredible things.
We were really good. Somewhere along the way, we lost our common sense, we lost our morals, our revered idols, whether it be a man or a female, which that's the other thing we've lost. We don't know the difference between men and women anymore.
Hey, they sure did.
And we need to start teaching good and bad things across the board.
I learned about it all.
And a good American would, like we were talking about earlier, making the service of people who serve worth their service. Be good. Just be a good human. We shouldn't be leading in numerous things that are the worst way you can lead ever. We lead in obesity, I'm sure, still. I mean, we lead in a lot of things that are horrible aspects to our country, but we also have the ability to come back and be good. I really do. We think we have the ability if people were just more accountable and people got their shit together. Just try it a little bit. Give, like I say all the time to people, all I want is one person to give 10% for 5 minutes of the day. And I guarantee you the VA gets a little bit better every day. Not a lot. I'm not expecting a lot.
Just all depending on where you are located as well.
Just be good every day for 5 minutes. Just give 10%. 5 minutes a day. That's all I'm asking. You're a lawyer. Take the fucking 10 minutes to call somebody and follow up. It's simple things. It's not that hard.
Simple things have gotten very.
But with that being said, I do have faith in 4-H. I do have faith in FFA. I do have faith in junior trooper programs. And I still have faith in ROTC programs even. But we got to get rid of the wokeness. Yeah. When we do that, we'll be a great country again.
Wokeness is weakness. How about we worry about training our military and our Navy SEALs and not giving them pronoun classes and teaching them about white rage? And you can't go on a mission if you're a Navy SEAL if you're not vaccinated. Yeah, because that's more important than national security. Like if you're sending the SEAL team out, that means it's kind of a big deal. I'm pretty sure vaccines don't make a difference if the bullets are going to kill them when they get shot, or if the person can return fire while being shot out carrying out said mission. I'm pretty sure that vaccine doesn't make a difference.
The sad part about all this is like people do this.
Everything.
They're putting that policies out there, Ski, and they're doing all that. But they were complaining before that Navy video got leaked about having a hard time meeting numbers for recruiting and having a hard time finding people to pass the ASVAT.
I can never imagine why.
If you're already having a problem, I wouldn't do things to even exacerbate that to the point where it's unobtainable.
If you were actually trying to get rid of the problem, you would not be doing any of the things you're doing in response to said problem.
Because whether you go by he, she, him, it, fucktard, stupid, retard, it doesn't matter what you go by.
Thing, come here, thing. That's a good one.
Equally and die.
Yeah.
That's the matter of combat. So I'm sorry. And if they thought they had problems with getting recruiting numbers before, you don't think now that you're pushing he, she, and whatever else it is, classes on people in the Navy and the Marine Corps, you don't think they're going to hurt your numbers? No, they're going to get even lower, dummies.
I think that's their, remember, Obama, I'm pretty sure, had us down to a military readiness, our lowest one since before we got dragged into World War II. That's their purpose. Remember, they were paying people.
Joe makes him not the worst president.
Well, that's because he knows he could use Joe to make it even worse. It's like, oh, what? I'll make him bad. But, how many people do we know just in tank battalion that got paid like tens of thousands of dollars to get out early? They're just trying to get rid of people. Like that's their whole purpose. Then all hell will break loose. And the idiots in charge now won't be able to do anything. But
it's because they purge people that they shouldn't purge out.
Oh, look, you have a tattoo, Pat? No, I'm sorry. What?
Maybe they shouldn't have forced people like you and me out. Push us that way, push us this way.
I was crippled.
You're gonna whip you guys like us again.
They broke me. I wasn't allowed to stay and play the game anymore. That was a great game, though. That was fun.
Just saying.
That seems like a great ending point with it all. Wake the
Go America up. And the Marine Corps is older.
Yeah. All right. We've always got your back, America. But again, thanks for watching, listening, wherever you are. Again, all the videos. I share them to Facebook, on Twitter at Jay Rucinski Show. I have a Reddit page under Jesse Rucinski. I'm on Locals under Jesse Rucinski. YouTube, Rumble, Clout Hub. They get put on MeWe under sure Jesse Rucinski or Bearded Skeet. Not even sure. I just put it on there. Audio goes everywhere. Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, Castbox. Breaker, Stitcher, name it, it's there, and Good Pods. Thank you for everyone there. And again, click the link on, I think it's actually that corner on YouTube, because that'll help you subscribe and we can get more numbers, which
Wait a minute.
helps.
I don't know which way
It's on that corner.
you're
Yeah, it's
this
on
way.
my right. Well, my right on camera.
Yeah.
So my left
like that.
on camera. Yeah. See, it throws me all off with it, but it's up there. So you can click on that and subscribe, and it helps out.
Always
Rate the
point
show
out-
on, rate the show on everything. It's over where the Marine Corps, EGA is. There you go. It's in that corner where the EGA is. But go on there, rate the shows, like it. If you listen to it, you can go on YouTube and Rumble, subscribe, hit like on the video, and write your comments on there, because then people type in any of those words, we will pop up sooner. And that is called free marketing. Because I don't want to give any of those crooked bastards any money to allegedly advertise for me. Word of mouth and all that still
It
works
works.
better than giving anyone any money. But again, I'll be back next week. Sorry, just taking a week off. Reading a lot of stuff. And I saw the Brittany Griner got her own bill to try, to get her out of Russia as fast as possible. And there's people that have been actual real prisoners for doing nothing that they're not writing bills for doing anything about. So I chose to take a week off instead of completely berating them. But I'll be back on Monday with one of the Supreme Court decisions.
I think there was
actually
50 paragraphs, and out of all of them, there was one people that wasn't her.
Yeah. But here's a good idea for all you people that are confused before I go. If you go to Russia or any other foreign country, don't break their laws. Especially when it comes to narcotics. Don't break their law. What? They will throw
You
your
don't have
ass.
patience, stupid. Don't travel outside of this country because it's going to get worse.
And here's another good one. What the hell? Like in December, like Russia was building up on Ukraine's borders like a son of a bitch. What the hell were you doing in Russia anyway? She don't matter. What? She hated America. She said it repeatedly, and now she's begging us for why, please, why? Because you see what bad actually is. What there's actual real bad. But hey, don't worry, she'll still get out and come back and talk about how much she hates all of us.
I was just going to say, let's see how she acts when she finally gets out.
She'll hate all of us. It's all our fault that you had cannabis puffers in your possession, which is a crime over there. Like, how about you don't commit felonies in other countries?
Oh, yeah,
Like they won't arrest you then.
Like here, I like how they're starting to blame cannabis for problems. No. I have smoked my weed for years. I actually smoked weed before I ever had issues. It's not the weed. Don't blame weed.
Idiots and people. And how about like
Want to blame medicine?
stuff that's laced?
Studies though that do.
Oh yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Some psych meds that are very questionable.
It'll make me more suicidal, give me targeted dyskinesia, all kinds of stuff. But I'll be back next week. We'll be back at the racing show on Friday morning. So be good to each other. Have a good week. And until next time, peace.
Oops.